kind of a traditional progress video here, so this is just me kind of color swatching everything, I guess. I've seen a lot of people kind of include these in their videos, and I thought it'd be kind of neat to show off my my kind of thought process here. I'm trying to, with all of these grays, I'm trying to find ones that would work for Tamrin's badge, so the colored badge that you can see there. Now I forgot to also mirror this horizontally, so everything is off. So I'm actually coloring with my right hand, but it looks like I'm left-handed right now. I will be able to fix that for the next video. So for now, just enjoy everything kind of loopy. Right now I'm just trying to test out markers for blending and shading. That second circle that I just did, I didn't really like. I like the first one I did, so I kind of scrapped that middle gray color. Now I'm just looking for a good gray here, I think, for Tamrin's hair. And then I also find one for her eyes in kind of the same go. And then I actually, later on in this video, I'll only be doing Raptor's badge there, just because, you'll see, but I actually don't have a proper glue stick, and I actually get really upset. So Tamrin's badge progress will show up a little bit later. I'm actually going to go out today and go get myself a new glue stick. So the blues were for her nose, but I'm also learning how to shade better with these markers, so I'm really looking into getting, like, playing with the color variants here. So looking forward to that, to be able to do some more videos there where I do a little bit more than just flat coloring. And then here I am, since Raptor's character is basically white and black and red, I just do his in this video. I was also gonna just do his because it was quicker. So yeah. So yeah, I didn't really like that one for a reference picture, neither that one, so I picked that one just because it's closer to what I drew, which is right there. Now it's gone. So I'm using that one just because it's easier, and I think that's the one that I was using for reference when I drew this badge itself. So that's why you'll see that the black across his forehead down to his nose is a little bit bigger than those other two pieces of artwork that he has there. And I tried really hard to get the camera to be closer to the artwork. It's actually, I have it push pinned into my wall, my little my little computer camera there. But it was really hard. I have it in the spot that I wanted it, and I actually just zoomed in with my camera properties, so that's the best. This is the best I can do at right now. So my hand's kind of covered every now and then. I was trying to be super mindful of that. Obviously when I do some more videos, it'll be a little bit better. I'll be able to track my hands a little bit more. This was kind of just like a test video, I suppose. I really want to do more progress videos for my traditional stuff because I find it really neat. So these ones were already pre-lined before I did the video, but I might do some where I, sketch out the whole thing and then line it with my light box and then go from there with the color. I really want to do more stuff on YouTube and also on my Patreon, so I'm looking forward to doing a bunch of stuff like that. Now this paper, I get progressively more and more, what's the right word? I don't want to say frustrated. I was frustrated with myself, not necessarily the paper. I was more and more distraught with the paper because the color swatches that I did isn't on the same kind of paper as I'm doing these badges. This paper sucks up ink a lot more, or I guess it allows for heavier ink. I don't know. The markers bleed a lot on their own, and then with this paper, they just kind of, it's like dropping ink into water. It just spreads. So I was really, you'll see when I do the background for his badge, I really get even now I'm just like, I can't do his markings with that black. I needed to grab my my Copic liner, and I really don't want to have to use my Copic liner for big patches of black just because then it'll dry out quicker, but I don't really use my brush medium and brush small, I guess they're called, for things. So I don't really mind. It's just that these markers were really expensive when I got them. So I'm not necessarily looking on using them up a whole bunch, you know? So yeah, I'm doing his markings with my Copic liner, which isn't really what you're supposed to do. But you know, what can you do? The black, well, all of those markers are. You can see the one gray Copic Chow, I think it is, and then all the other black ones are called Touch First, and I bought them. Well, I didn't buy them. My partner at the time bought them off of Wish, so I got about 128 of them for about $60. So you can just tell by that price tag how good the quality is. I mean, it works really well for me so far with what I need to do. So I mean, whatever works. I can't really afford a bunch of Copics right now, so they're doing the job for right now. But yeah, what was I saying? This is only my second time doing a voiceover for stuff. This one's more, I wanted to talk more about my thought process and my piece more than just, you know, this is what I'm drawing, check it out. So obviously with time I'll get better. So, but yeah, I'm just watching myself. I really wish I flipped this horizontally. I realized afterwards, and I was like, oh man. When I was editing it, I was like, why are the words backwards? Oh, that's why everything was mirrored. Shoot. So next time when I do Tamron's badge, you'll actually be able to read her name properly instead of backwards. But yeah. So I finished all his markings, and I was like, great, okay, time to do his eyeball. I think that's what I do next. I believe I do his eye. And this is where I get distraught, because the paper and the markers, I'm gonna have to not do such tiny detail, because already with those dots over his eyes, it was kind of leaked out past where I wanted them to be, but since it was circular markings, it was kind of okay. And here I go, trying to cover up the bleed. I really need to get something a little bit stronger than those jelly rolls for when that happens. I think I go over with the jelly roll and then realize it just kind of made this pink kind of patch around his eye, and then I just go over his entire eye with and then see, look, I'm being super careful. I'm like, I'm just gonna poke it. Pointillism. And then the dark red bleeds into the light red a little bit, but that's okay because that's his pupil. But there I go again, trying to cover it up. Near the end, once that kind of dries, I just go over with my micron and reline his eyes so he looks like he's got a bit of an eyeliner on. But yeah, this is the start of where I'm frustrated. I don't really let it. I try not to, especially with traditional art. I try not to let it get to me, but I gotta say, I was pretty. After this and then the glue stick not actually being sticky, it really set me off, and I really wanted to finish both badges tonight or that night, but I just wasn't able to. I got Raptors done, and I was too upset to focus on it, just because not only I knew with Tamron's, with all the marker, like all of those markers there I'd use on her badge, so I knew that the paper was gonna just absolutely soak it up and spread it around. And so I just knew, I was like, I need to take a break, and that's okay. Every now and then, that's good. And here I am, I'm like, oh man. trying to figure out the background color now. Or no, I was trying to figure out the color for his mouth because I didn't want his little teeth to get all. I didn't want the paper to bleed. So here I am. I'm like, maybe a pink tongue, and I was like, no, that's too light. And then I was like, maybe red. And that it was actually a lot brighter than his eyes, but I knew that it wouldn't bleed, so I was just like, whatever. Red is red. And I actually go over with that pink to kind of dull it down a little bit. So it actually turned out pretty nice. I like it. I mean, overall, in the end, the badge looks super great, and Raptor himself really likes it, so that's all that matters. It's just, it was super discouraging for me, I guess, because I had bought this paper because it comes in a little sketchbook and you can fold it out flat, and I really like books where you can fold them out flat and not ruin the spine. So it's super discouraging for me. I probably, next time I know now, I'm just going to take out a piece of paper or just do my color swatches on paper similar to it, just because the paper I did the color swatch on, I guess, is a different texture, so it doesn't let the markers bleed around too much because of whatever reason. I'm still learning. I'm learning about different papers and what they do. So, but I will definitely be more mindful of my markers and probably do bigger projects, I suppose, on this, or less minimal detail, because I have another sketchbook of the same paper but it's bigger, so I'll probably do badges on that, either that or I just won't use these touch first markers for it anymore, just because they bleed so much. And normally it's okay because I can blend the crap out of these markers. Just because they bleed everywhere, I can do super cool gradients, and I'm super grateful for that because I don't want to use up all my Copics because they're $8 a marker for me, whereas I can just absolutely pile on a bunch of marker with these touch first and then just go over with the lightest color again, and then wow, I've got this super cool gradient. And then I actually shade on his badge, and I'm super proud of myself because normally I'm super shy about shading with things, and this one I kind of just went with my gut, and it's not, I wouldn't say it's the best just because the marker bled a bit, but I'm learning, or I guess I'm experimenting is the better word, with more hard cell shading rather than just soft cell, because that's what I do with digital pieces. But then again, it's super easy to shade with digital just because if you mess up, you can just delete the layer. Not so much with traditional, but I really want to do more traditional things because that was my roots. That's where I started. That's my jam. So I really want to learn more, especially with all these markers. I have so many markers, and I wanted to, especially watching a lot of YouTubers who do watercolor. That's kind of what I put on when I'm doing my digital art. I just kind of watch other people draw, and it gives me more energy, I guess, to do stuff, just because it feels like I'm with someone. That sounds lonely. But it gives me inspiration to do things. I don't know. Even though it's stuff that I was already doing in the first place, it just feels better to listen to someone else talk about their thought process for even a completely different medium than what I'm working with. But yeah, so after watching a bunch of YouTubers with their watercolors, and then watching them go to Copics and talking about how using watercolors help them learn how to play with colors a lot more, like using purples and blues to shade instead of what they would normally use. So it's really cool to learn other people's thought processes, and it kind of just inspired me to be a little bit more I don't know what the word would be, to be more, not necessarily brave, but I suppose dynamic in my marker usage. For lack of better terminology, I'm just being more brash I suppose. I don't even know if that's the right way to use that word, but I'm going with it. And then back to got a little sidetracked. Back to what I'm doing here. I used my Copic red for his name, and that kind of bled a little bit. Not so much as his eyeball did. I was kind of like, I knew I was gonna go over the letters of his name anyway, so I was a little bit haphazardly putting on the marker because I knew I was gonna make it bold or bolder anyway. So it didn't really matter if I went over the lines a little bit. But once I get to the background of his badge here, I had almost given up at that point, just because I didn't use a Copic for it. I actually used one of the touch burst markers, and it bled everywhere. I was very upset. Here I am looking for my 0.5. I was going to use the brush medium, but I was worried that that would be too big, so I used my 0.5. For the letters on his name. And normally I go over, I really like to vary line weight for the most part with badges, but I didn't do that so much with this one, just because when I had lined it, the lines were kind of varied. I don't know. I had lined these badges actually last month. I'm dating this this progress video, but I had done these in probably late October, and then I finally set up my room and my drafting table here how I liked it, and then I managed to find a place for my camera that was kind of agreeable. So I was like, yeah, might as well start recording. So here I am, working on this. And actually tonight, I think I probably already said this, but tonight I'm going to go out and get another glue stick. I don't know if I'm going to work on Temrin's badge, the other one up there, just yet. I probably will wait until a little bit later on, just because I've got a lot of stuff going on. But hers will come out fairly soon after this one, so you can look forward to that as well. And I'm looking forward to it. I really want to do more traditional stuff, so if you guys have any ideas, or you want me to see, or you want to see me do anything, just let me know. And then any kind of traditional commissions that I do, I'll probably also record them. And I will also work on bigger stuff, because I know this is super far away. Like, it looks nice, but my hands are kind of covering it, and it's far away, so you can't see all the fine details that I did here. But this is, honestly, this is the best I could get at this time with what I'm working with. So I'll try and work on bigger scale things in the future, just so that you can see more. So yeah, I'm trying to think of other things to say here. So this is, yeah, okay, so this is when I started trying to find a background color, and I figured yellow would work well. So I bring out my Copic yellow, and it's not quite bright enough. And when I put the Sharpie over it, I didn't wait very long at all to apply that Sharpie, but it bled. And I was just like, oh, I was just really tired of things bleeding on top of other things. So I'm just going through, and I really like that yellow that's down kind of in the middle underneath that green circle and above those blue color swatches. So I'm trying to find that one. Of course, before I didn't label it, then see, I'm checking to see if that one's kind of drier than the Copic there, and it still kind of bled a little bit, and it was a bit too dark, so I'm trying to find that bright yellow, and then I'm like, whoop, I'll just put it right beside, because I was like, I like that yellow. And that one was close enough. It was close enough to it wet that I was like, whatever. It's only the background color, and I just wanted a bright yellow. And I knew that any of my other brighter yellows, just because they're not the best marker, and they're the tips, I guess, or the nib on these markers are super firm. So it's really hard to directed. See, I'm coloring, or I didn't, not so much right there by his mouth. See, I'm noticing it bleed. I'm like, oh no. So I start coloring. I'm watching it bleed, and my hope, or my faith in this is diminishing. So I as this goes on, I progressively start coloring further and further away from all of his white parts, and just kind of push it towards him. And even then it bleeds. So this whole thing, this whole background was kind of a bit of a disaster in of itself. I really wish that, if anything, if that the paper didn't bleed, or the paper could hold more ink than it does. And then see here, I kind of messed up here because now I've drawn this line, but I'm not going back to that spot until after the marker's dried. So there's kind of a little bit of an overlap. So after it kind of bled onto his chin, all thought processes went away, and I was just like, I need to get this done before I get even more frustrated. I powered through it though, because I'm trying really hard not to let little inconveniences like markers bleeding ruin art pieces for me. Because before, after it started to bleed, I probably would have gotten super upset, and honestly, I might have just scrapped it right there and, relined it on a new piece of paper, and then just recolored it. Probably with different markers, or at least on a bigger scale. So I'm not gonna let myself kind of give in to that kind of I don't know what to call it. I guess I don't know. I'm not gonna let myself give in to little defeats like that, because I can fix it. I can go over it with the liner and kind of mask it, and I can use my my jelly roll to bring more white back into it. It's unfortunate that it happened, but it doesn't ruin the entire piece overall. And I can add more stuff to the badge to make it more like that was intentional. I don't know quite how to do that yet, but as I get better with markers and I learn more techniques, I'm sure that markers bleeding a little bit will be the least of my concerns eventually. And here I am with my liner, like, oh geez, going over his chin to cover where the marker bled onto his white bits here. So he gets a nice little more defined outline, I suppose. And then afterwards I go over with the jelly roll. Yep, there I am, grabbing it to color in. And then I wait for it to dry. Near the end I do it again after it's dried a little bit. But yeah, I'm really looking to not let little things like this bother me anymore. And I actually, sorry for that weird cut, I had to take a little break because I needed to step away for a second, let everything dry and go over it again. So, but yeah, I'm not gonna let little things like that bother me. And actually, when I do this whole process of this badge was kind of like a, oh no, this happened, how can we fix it, over and over again. So it was a learning experience, but I'm super happy with the outcome regardless. And when I put the backing on it, I realized that having the kind of not quite holographic, but it's almost lenticular, I suppose, but it doesn't really change the image. I don't know how to explain it. It's shiny. And I thought it would look cool. So I used that. And I realized when I glued it, and I saw it after the glue had dried a little bit, as best as it could. Still upset about that glue stick, but as the glue stick had dried as best as it could, I realized it would have looked probably a bit more neater, I guess. Not necessarily in a tidy way, but it would have looked cooler if I had it with the red as the actual backing instead of the silver that was on the other side. But it also looks cool. I didn't want the backing I didn't want the back of the badge to outshine the front of it. So it's really hard sometimes to pick like what kind of paper I want to glue onto the back of the badge because I want it to look nice overall. But at the same time, you know, the art is kind of the focus. I don't know. And then, yeah, I kind of gave it a little floaty outline with the red Sharpie, just kind of tie it all together with the red of his eye and the red of the name, and he's super monochrome character wise. So, and then this is another place where I messed up because you'll see why here, but it's always best to glue the backing to your badge and then cut everything out once rather than cut out your badge, glue it onto the backing, and cut it again. And I as soon as I did that, I was shaking my head at myself because I let myself be. I wasn't even thinking, to be honest. I was just frustrated about the markers bleeding that I didn't even think about the next step, which is silly. And here I am, I'm like, where is a glue stick? So I get up and go find one here in a second, I think, after I check my phone. And then I find literally a glue stick from like elementary school. I don't know why I still had it. It sucks, and I'm sad after. Yeah, okay, so I'm looking at backings here. Just kind of flipping through it. I was thinking of like a yellow one to kind of match with the yellow background, but nothing really caught my eye, and the only yellow one I had said happy birthday all over it, so that didn't really work out very well, just because that'd be a weird thing to have on the back of a badge, I guess. If it only... Anyway, I didn't like it. So I go into my drawer, and I look through all the other ones, and I thought maybe, you know, just like a plain dark gray. So I'm looking at that one a few times. You can see it kind of flash here and there. So I'm like, maybe the gray. I was like, no. How about the gray? I was like, gray? No. Gray. And I'm looking for a glue stick. And then, oh yeah, this is where I get up and put the gray back. So I was like, no gray. And now I'm looking for a glue stick now. And I'm actually super distraught. And I was going to cut this out, but I'm just going to leave it in here. So there it is. There's the glue stick. And it's not even sticky. I managed to kind of... It was kind of like, you know, when erasers dry out and then they just smudge everything unless you cut off the outside layer of the eraser so that there's fresh eraser on the inside. I don't know if anyone else has had pencil erasers as long as I have, but I literally hoard things from like grade 5 and I'm way past university now. But yeah, so that's the best way to explain this glue stick is that it's dried out, and about half a centimeter in, it was kind of sticky. Here I am, and I'm like, what? And I'm touching it, and it's not sticky. And I was like, great. But this is literally the only glue stick I have right now. I normally have another one, but I don't know where that one is. And I actually cut out a bit of the video. Because I literally looked for a glue stick for about 10 minutes, and I didn't know where it was. So I suffered through this one. But yeah, I'm pushing, and I wrinkle the paper a little bit, and then I get upset. I'm like, great. So I only push the glue one way, and I try and get it as caked on there as possible without having it show through on the paper. And then I throw away the glue stick right there. It's in the trash. And then I push on the backing as hard as I can, and my brain was like, let's flip it over and rub on the and I was like, let's not. Oh no. So I rub it on the backing again, and I think I actually go into the trash and I pull out the glue stick again. Yep. I go into my little little garbage and I pull out the glue stick after I grab these badge clips. Because I was initially going to do both Tamarin and Raptor. There it is. Tamarin and Raptor's badges. And here I am trying to cut this out. So I actually shave off a little bit of the actual badge itself just so that both the backing and the badge kind of line up, which is really unideal. I super recommend that you just glue your backing onto the badge and then cut it out once, you know. Work smarter, not harder. So next time, for sure, I will remember to glue the backing onto the badge and then cut it out. So yeah, the rest of the video is just me cutting it out. I don't laminate it, and I don't start on Tamarin's badge. I'm going to be laminating it after I finish adding this bit on top of this video, and then I'll be uploading this. So my Patreons, or my patrons, will see this probably tomorrow from me recording this voiceover, and then my everyone else on YouTube will be able to see it probably later on in the week. So yeah, that's kind of, there it is, and that's it. So thank you guys for watching. It's probably not one of my most thought out videos, but I appreciate, you know, you guys taking the time to watch this. I know it probably wasn't the most interesting, and I do apologize for it not being flipped horizontally and vertically so that you can actually see it and it's not mirrored. But going forward, I'll make sure to do that from now on. I managed to get the flipped vertically part so you weren't watching it upside down, but I will also flip it horizontally. And yeah, I look forward to showing you Tamarin's progress for her badge, and then any other traditional things that I do. I think I have a few others that I could do, and then, you know, anything else that I have moving forward I will also do. And then hopefully later on I can find a better setup or a better camera, I guess, so that it's closer and it's more clear. But that's enough of me rambling. So thank you guys for watching, and I hope that you have a good rest of your day.